Hello, hello. I think we're having a little issues in the Discord there, AC. So we're just trying to figure out how we're gonna go live. Oh, there we go. Looks like Kenny has got it set up. Now we're good. Hi, YGG community. Can you guys hear me in the Discord there? Let's get some QBs in the chat there if you can hear us loud and clear. I don't see any QBs, which is usually a bad thing. See if the stream catches up. But in the meantime, I think we're good. So we're going to start rolling with this. AC, how are you? You're muted.
Hey, sorry. My computer rocked me off earlier. So yeah, hi YGG fam. I'm here. I thought I'm already speaking earlier. So yeah. It's been fine. The storm here is blasting off our location, and so far at the moment it's all calm, and hopefully there will be no power outage anymore. So yeah, all good.
Yeah, let's hope you don't get rugged by the storm. We've got another
Yeah,
jam-packed session here with an AMA from a bunch of our GAP
definitely.
partners and partners here at
Yeah.
YGG. So without further ado, we're going to pull up Shash here from KGeN. Hey, Shash, I hope I'm not butchering your name.
No, that's pretty accurate. It's pretty accurate. Yeah.
Yes, perfect. And then we have Ali and Milton from Navigate. We did a little feature on Navigate earlier this week. Hi, guys.
Hello, good to be here.
And then last but not least, we have Fitch from Parallel. Fitch, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. I was struggling to find the unmute button.
Yep, that's usually the case. No stream can go perfectly simple. Even here on Restream, whether it's Twitter or whatever, there's always some sort of rug
There's
happening.
always, yeah.
Exactly. So let's just go backwards here. Fitch, let's hear a little bit about yourself and what you do at Parallel.
Sure. Yeah, my name's Fitch. I think a lot of people in YGG community will know who I am. But yeah, I'm running partnerships at Parallel, so that's really a lot of the external stuff that we're doing, be that working with awesome communities like YGG, or working with ambassadors or influencers, or working with external partners like Coinbase or OpenSea. So I've worn many hats, literally and figuratively, at during my time at Parallel, and yeah, I've done a lot of different things, and it's been really cool. I've been here since basically the beginning, and it's been great to watch the project evolve over the years.
Yeah, you guys definitely are putting together some big things, and the game's come a long way from when we first saw it here at YGG.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I mean, yeah, you guys have been around for a while too, and I think the best is yet to come, undoubtedly. Like, it's crazy to think that after all these years, it's still really just getting started.
Yeah, exactly. I'm
Definitely.
gonna pull Ali. What do you guys do at Navigate? So I see you're a co-founder here as well as Milton. But what does that really entail for you guys?
Yeah, so Navigate is what we're calling the people's data platform, and there are two parts to it. There's we'll get into the game specific part here in a second, but essentially the idea is there's a lot of our data that is given away freely to big tech companies like Facebook and Twitter and such, and we want to be able to empower users to earn from that. So passively contributing your data is one way to do that, and active contribution is where the gaming side comes in, which is through an MMORPG that we've built called Data Quest, and I'll let Milton, who's the other co-founder at Navigate, dive into that.
I guess that's my cue. Hey, Milton Lopez. I am also the co-founder, and my primary focus is on the product. And so, as a chief product officer, it's to make sure we understand who we're building for, and make sure that those who we're building for want to come back to our products. So, getting out there in the community, understanding what the needs are, and making sure that our products are satisfying those needs.
Awesome, thank you. And Shash from KGeN, tell us a little bit about KGeN and what you do there.
Yeah, I hope it's not too loud from my end. I hope it's not noisy. But the same is right. I mean, it's the week of a festival here, so there's a lot of festive vibes. That's why you see me in one of the traditional dresses, and there's a lot of people just moving around the office. And yeah, just a bit about myself. I'm Shash, and I was one of the early founding members of IndieGG. I'm sure a lot of people have heard about IndieGG, and we got acquired, and then we formed KGeN now. I lead growth and engagement for KGeN now, and it's been a long time coming. I've built the community ground up for IndieGG. It's been like 3 years, I think, and it's going pretty strong with KGeN. Like we mostly focus on like bringing the youth in terms of like the colleges and the universities on like onto our ecosystem, because they show the most interest to get a fair understanding, or like get educated, etc., etc., right? So we spend most of our time in like working out the strategies and on how we can convince these students to get on board, or how we can get these gamers on onto the platform, and again onto the Web3, right, in total. But yeah, that's sort of it.
Yeah. We've done a lot with NDGG, and it was really interesting when you guys said that you were going to be rebranding, and it seems
Rebrand.
like the rebrand's gone really well for you guys.
Oh, that's pretty awesome coming from you guys. And it's been a while since I spoke to you and Sedano. I used to work with Sedano during I think the YGG TV was also in the works back then. So we had a lot of discussions around that. But yeah, but it's been a while. It's been fun working with you guys.
Yeah, Sedano has also worn a lot of hats like Finch and moved from from many different teams around here. Right now he's with YGG PH putting on a lot of the event space, so IRL events. So obviously we're prepping a lot for the YGG Play Summit, which is coming in November, which I think a good amount of our partners will be attending, and whatever partners aren't attending, we host this every year, and we want more and more to show up each time. So if you guys aren't on the docket, definitely let me know. We'll be able to prep for next year. Finch, I'm pretty sure you're going to be there as well. Parallel, I think, is throwing a big esports tournament.
Yeah, yeah, we
Which is
are throwing a big esports tournament.
so that's probably a good segue here. Like I said, I'm gonna pull everybody else now off, and we'll just dive into parallel. I guess we're gonna switch it up here. I know I said I was gonna save parallel for last, but maybe we'll just switch it up because that's a good segue. And we'll give you about 10 or 15 minutes or so just to dive into how you see the space and what's going on with parallel.
Yeah, I probably don't need a whole 10 or 15 minutes, so I'll give these nice folks some time back. But yeah, I mean, been around for a while, and I've seen the industry kind of mature, I guess would be the way to describe it. Like, when I first started working at Parallel, or really, I guess when I first became a fan of Parallel, this would really be back in like 2021. The NFT boom was happening, and there was a lot of speculation, and there wasn't really much in the way of good products, specifically in terms of Web3 games. And now I think we're in a much different place in the industry, and there's a lot of products coming to fruition or near coming to fruition. So you have Parallel. We were last year's Web3 Game of the Year, and that was even while we were in beta, right? And so the product has come a long way since then. You have other titles like Off the Grid that have launched that are having a bunch of success. You have exciting things coming from Wildcard and Shrapnel, and right. So you've got a lot of different stuff out there or about to be out there that you could say would be AAA level, in Web3, and that's far different than where we were at a few years ago. So industry wise, like if you're asking me where I see the industry going, I see we're at that point of inflection. I think that we're very close to that, if not at that point now. And I see the industry growing tremendously, even over the next 6 to 12 months, right? So I wanted to at least give that comment on the industry. And then, yeah, separately from that, Parallel is hitting its stride as well. We're in a place now where mobile is coming very soon. And I think that mobile for, markets like PH and LATAM and a bunch of other markets is going to be absolutely massive. The requirements of Parallel up to this point have been a little high, right? Like a PC that's fairly potent was needed to play the game, and that's going to change soon, right? So that's really exciting, and I think probably the most exciting thing that I wanted to emphasize about Parallel is mobile is coming soon. So for anyone on the YGG side listening who hasn't been able to play, two things. One, we did just launch the ability to play on browser, right? So this is not fully scaled up, but it supports quite a bit of users still. And you can go to games.gg and the Parallel page on there, and you can actually play via browser, which is really cool if you're currently unable to play. And then mobile, which is a much more complete solution to that problem, will be coming soon after. So I'll take a step back I'm really speaking to listeners who know about Parallel, which I would imagine a lot of the YGG community does. But I'll take a step back and speak a little bit about Parallel for anyone who doesn't know about it as well. We started in roughly 2021, and we're one of the most successful sort of NFT based projects of all time. I think that we're still top 15 NFT collection ever, at least on our main collection. And so there was a lot of excitement around collecting the cards at that time, but really we've been building as a franchise this epic sci-fi story with the trading card game Parallel as a vehicle to tell that story, and as an awesome debut product for our studio. And so the TCG, like I said, has won Web3 Game of the Year last year and has a bunch of really exciting things going on with it. Huge esports scene, awesome ability to play and earn, awesome art on these cards that you can collect and own in a digital format, which is really kind of an innovation in and of itself. And just a bunch of people sort of coming into the ecosystem and finding that they really enjoy what's going on there. But again, in addition to that, and sort of as an underlying layer of all that, we're building a studio, we're building an IP, and the story's awesome. Basically Earth in the future, this cataclysm happens, the ships go in 5 different directions, and then they all come back, and do battle for Earth thousands of years after that, when they've evolved into similar but parallel versions of humanity, right? So that's where the parallel comes from. So really, it's a very cool story. We have some world-class artists who've worked on some of the biggest franchises, Marvel, Star Wars, right, over the last 20 years, developing this franchise, and awesome people from franchises like Magic the Gathering, developing the card game. And it's really, really fun, and it's about to be more accessible for everyone in the form of mobile specifically. So that's really the main things I wanted to emphasize. We are one of the top sort of play to earn games. I would say it's more of a win to earn game, because you gotta be winning. But we'll be on mobile soon, and there's a lot of exciting things happening. We have some other titles in the works as well. So yeah, that's it from me. I don't think I have too much else to say specifically on that.
Yeah, it's really amazing to hear that you guys are prepping to come to mobile. That's definitely been a pain point. I know Gabby has been giving out like Steam, not Steam Decks, Asus. What do you call those? The little
Rogue
handheld.
Ally.
Yeah, the rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rogue
just
Ally,
so
yeah.
just so some of our esports guys can play on the go there while they're traveling and stuff. So
Well,
that's
the
really cool.
browser play helps now, right? So like,
Yeah.
you can log on to a browser and play Parallel now too, which is really cool. So it's no coincidence we've been seeing like numbers go up in players just since like 2 days ago when we launched it. Because I think people are like, holy crap, I can do this now. But I mean, imagine when mobile happens, it's going to be nuts. I mean, I think the player base is going to explode.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot easier to find matches, and I think it's going to be a lot harder to win matches because you're going to have a bigger pool.
It's two things, right? It's two things. So at the upper echelon, it's already extremely difficult to win matches, right? I think that level will be still about as difficult as it is. I think it may get easier to win silver and gold, if I'm being honest, because you're going to have a bunch of new players coming in, and technically, right now, silver and gold type of levels would be higher concentration of difficulty than they theoretically should be, So I think you're going to have actually a little bit easier time in the middle of the ladder.
It'll be interesting to see. And then on top of that, you guys are doing some pretty interesting stuff with AI as well, aren't you?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, I wasn't going to get too much into it at a high level, but I will say we're developing two things. One, an AI driven simulator game that will have some, probably earn components to it. We're still ironing out exactly what that's going to look like. But that's a pretty revolutionary game. I mean, the genre of game technically has never existed before. So we're not even talking about a new game in an existing genre. We're talking about a new genre of games where AI is like a counterpart to you while you play the game. Very excited for Colony. So if you look up Parallel Colony on Twitter, you can find that. And then we're also developing a tool called Wayfinder, and that's at AI Wayfinder on Twitter, and probably all the other socials as well. And that tool will basically be a navigational tool for you on the blockchain. So imagine ChatGPT meets blockchain, where you could basically say via voice or type via text, hey, I want to move some USDC over here and I want to buy that coin and then sell it and then move it back over here and then farm these coins. And it'll be like, okay, done. And you don't have to click any more buttons, right? And that's going to be really incredible because right now the UX gap in crypto is pretty huge. It's very difficult to do a lot of things in crypto. And so this will basically take that gap and make it zero.
Yeah, which is super exciting. I think we've come a long way, in the past 3 years or so since I've really dove into the space and YGG's formed. But that's still one of the biggest pain points for onboarding users is obviously the UX and how easy it is to figure out how to get your wallet to work, how to bridge from multiple different chains because all these games are on different chains, right? Very few are on the same one.
Yeah.
So like something like that would be truly revolutionary.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the ability to take, stuff that you earned from this game over here, move it into a stable middle currency, move it over here, do some things over here, and then move it back and move it into your local currency, all with like just your finger, just type it out, to type what you want to do, and it'll do it. I mean, that is going to be really, really awesome. So
super excited for that stuff. So that's another really good segue here where I'm going to pass it off to the co-founders at Navigate, Ali and Milton here, because they're doing some really interesting stuff with data labeling, which is a big component to AI as well. So thanks, Finch. I'll pull you back on later when we kind of have an AMA section, and I will pull on Milton and Ali. Hi, guys.
Hello.
I'm going to
Hello.
switch up our screens here. There we go. Yeah. So on that note, as we were talking there with Parallel about their AI components, why don't you guys give us kind of an idea with what you're doing at Navigate? We actually featured you earlier this week, Wednesday. We had some of our players showcase what you guys are doing there with the data labeling. But do you want to to go into the higher level stuff there and kind of explain how that's going to work and maybe how it would pair with something like what Parallel's doing with their AI agent?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, very familiar with Wayfinder and the cool stuff that Parallel team is doing with that. That like Fitch was saying, it's general purpose LLM model that is optimized for certain actions on chain. And they've been building it out in a very generalized way, and goes very well with the vision that Parallel has, which is pretty expansive. Started from just a card game, and now there's so much more. So Navigate is essentially a data platform that we are trying to build in a way that it's owned by the people who contribute their data to it, rather than say you look at Reddit or Facebook or Twitter. These are all data platforms. The reason that they exist, the reason that they're popular, is because they have tons and tons of users who go on there every single day and create and post new content, engage with each other, so on and so forth. Um, Traditionally, what's been happening is that these companies are free to monetize user data, and they do that in any which way possible. They're always on the lookout for new opportunities to monetize user data, and a very simple and recent example of that would be how LinkedIn snuck in a new setting that just said, you allow us to use all of your data for training and fine tuning AI models, LLMs. So that was kind of the origin story of Navigate and what we wanted to do. Our thesis is that in the current wave of AI with these large language models and how popular they are, what we're really seeing is how important data is. And it's high time that we put some mechanisms in place that allow people to take back some control of their data and allow them to monetize it rather than kind of getting it stolen from them. And that this has two components as well, because there's a time effort component, and then there's a resource component to it. So on the passive data contribution side, it's as easy as going and downloading a browser extension and leaving it running in the background, where it grabs data from the open web, and it also grabs your personal data with all the PII removed in whatever capacity you allow it to. Super simple browser extension that you can configure however you want. And on the other side of the coin is the active data labeling. Now, we wanted to do that in a super fun way. We wanted to, I don't like using the word gamify because it usually means that you just put achievements onto something and you try and pass it on as a game. But we really wanted to build a game that would encourage people to come in, engage with this world where we tell a story about the importance of data, again, in a fun way, and get them onboarded. And I let Milton talk to the design of the game and what it's like and so on.
Thanks. Yeah, so as Ali mentioned, the vision is grand. The vision is to liberate the data that currently has been kind of stolen. And so when you look at gamification, there's leaderboards, there's badges, and typically that's all you get. And then you kind of slap a game logo on it, and you're good to go. What we've done is we've kind of added a little bit of nostalgia into it. If you go look at the art, the game, it might remind you of the 90s, the good old days. And as you go through it, the story starts developing, and we pay a lot of attention to the story that we're building out here. And if you read closely, you kind of listen closely, you'll see that there's kind of hints at the real world and how we feel about how big tech companies are kind of extracting the data and extracting the value and basically leaving those who create the data with absolutely nothing. And so if you follow along, there's a few chapters that are in the works right now that kind of further the story. It's all about how do you convey a message, a grand message that we have in a game that is enjoyable to play. And you'll start seeing a few new updates into the game, which kind of tie the real world with the game, where what you do in the real world, how you contribute in the real world will also benefit you in the game to start kind of boosting up your points. Right now, we've got the data labeling, we've got the entity recognition pieces within the game, and soon you'll see that those will start earning some points that'll allow you to further in the game, develop your collection of I'm gonna little spoiler there of creatures in the game, allow you to evolve them in different ways so that you can truly have a unique experience. And at the same time, that's going to be reflected on, as we mentioned, the Chrome extension. You'll start developing more of a personality around your avatar, your navigator, as we call them. Because the whole vision is this navigator is going to represent you. It's going to represent the data that you capture. It's going to represent the data that you label. And it will truly be your digital avatar that represents the data that you collect, that you train, and the data that is yours. Something that we previously have essentially just been a number. Now we're going to have an identity assigned to the data that we're creating and that we're powering, and all for the purpose of, one, liberating the data, but also making sure that the data that's captured is responsibly captured, that you have the soul behind it, that you have a personality behind it, and so that we are actually representing those that are contributing that data.
Yeah, super exciting. On that art note there, when we were talking earlier this week with our community members that were going, that were showcasing Navigate, that are kind of have their navigators and been doing this for a couple of seasons now, they were saying it very feels much like 90s and very Pokemon-esque. The art style, like, and
Yeah.
color palette really feels like, I guess, like, what would that be? Like Pokemon yellow and red and stuff
And
like
the
that.
red.
And obviously that was a very deliberate choice, right? You wanted to kind of go back, I guess, to this nostalgic age.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the whole you'll see that as it develops, there's a few more nods to that. We want to keep it unique, but we want to make sure that when you're playing through it, you're having a good time and you're remembering of better times in the past.
And so this
Mm.
kind of name that you have, Navigate, is kind of a play on like navigating through this digital space. I'm guessing that's where it kind of came from.
There's a few aspects to that. Navigating through the world, and that could be the digital, the virtual world. Sorry, the digital or the actual world, the real world here that we live in, because data lives all around us, and it's in where you go, it's in what you do, what you see, what your behavior looks like online. All of that are elements that we as navigators are collecting along the way. And so the grand vision is you're exploring all the time, you're navigating throughout your life, and anything that you want to contribute along the way, we're happy to take it. We're happy to figure out a way that it can kind of help you again with some monetization of that data which you're creating and you're contributing.
Yeah, and I think that's a really key point, right? So I'd love to pick everyone else's brain eventually at the end here. We'll kind of do like a fireside chat, since you guys are all kind of in the AI space and Web3 space. But like this idea of democratizing data has been coming up quite a bit, in the mainstream media, especially over here in North America, where everybody's like, okay, AI is coming, big data is here. This is really where blockchain can shine, right? Where you're going to be able to own your data, which I think is the big thing on a lot of people's mind. And you're going to be able to decide
Yep.
what you do with that data via blockchain, and you're going to be able to see that transparently.
100%. I think you hit the nail on the head. And something that you'll see that's very interesting is whether it's certain VCs in the Web3 space who have a vested interest, or there are certain big tech companies. They're constantly trying to tell you how your data doesn't really matter, and you shouldn't worry too much about it, because one individual doesn't really drive all of this stuff. And they're absolutely right. One individual doesn't. But what they very conveniently leave out is the fact that they have millions of individuals who are giving them all of this data. And if so many individuals collectively stop, then they stop having the product. So definitely coming to that. And that's a really, really key thing.
Excellent. Anything else you want to plug? Like maybe future? I know you're teasing a little bit on future updates there, but where do you see Navigate going within the near future? Like any big
Yes.
updates or stuff?
uh, big updates coming. One's around this, making the current kind of nostalgic feel of the game that you have, expanding that and turning that more into something which is very collaborative. Because I know every single person who's played any of the Pokemon games has always wanted true multiplayer in there. And that's something that we're bringing to the table. So having multiplayer be in there, as Milton just leaked the fact that we'll have a bunch of these creatures coming in that are going to be called data morphs, and they will be tied to the kind of data and data sets that you contribute. And then building on top of that, these will be two very key elements of expanding that universe and making it feel immersive, all while being in this 2D retro style.
Very
Super cool.
nice. You heard it first here in YGG AMA. So make sure to
Yep,
check out
absolutely.
that feature soon. Yeah.
And on that note there, are you guys like, so obviously the blockchain space is really collaborative, which is a little bit, I guess, different than the Web2 space. I feel like the Web2 space is a little more like PvP, you know what I mean? Companies against each other. Are you looking to collaborate with other like AI projects or just game projects in general within the Web3 space to kind of the best of both worlds from each project?
Absolutely. There's a ton of opportunities to collaborate, and one very simple example. Fitch was talking about AI Wayfinder. That's one. Another one is Morpheus, which is this AI framework that's been built, and there's a LLM that's very privacy oriented that's been built on top of it called Venice. So there are multiple opportunities to plug in technology like that behind this interface and just make this a very fun and casual place where people hang out, get to do all of their tasks from within this kind of meta universe, and go into other games like walk into an arcade and launch a bunch of different Web3 games and go and play those, so on.
Yeah, like even I was even thinking like Pixels here. I'm sure you guys have heard about Pixels, but
Yep,
like your art style is very similar to Pixels. I could see some sort of thing where there's like a navigate building in Pixels or vice versa and navigate, right, where you go
exactly.
in and you could do some stuff. So yeah, excited to see where the space goes, and obviously if YGG can help build those bridges, definitely don't hesitate to ask. But yeah, we will dive into more of a fireside chat because I'm sure you guys could you and Finch here could probably talk a little bit about AI and partnerships later on. But I want to give Shash some time here to talk about what Indie GG is doing and kind of what they're excited about. So I'll pull you guys off and then I'll pull you guys back at the end for this kind of group chat. Thanks.
Thanks.
Strong correction, cops. KGeN, what's KGeN up to, right? I mean, I'm gonna get,
Yeah.
I'm
Used
gonna
to
get
the
court
old
martial
branding.
as, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna get court martial as soon as the game ends, and just be like, hey, I just heard cops talk about NDGG, and I'm like, yeah, it's
No, it's
legit.
Cajun. You guys have been rebranded.
Yes, guys. 100%, yeah. But I mean, yeah, thanks for the space. Actually, it was quite interesting to listen to everything that was being told, and I think, I mean, thanks for the alpha, Milton. I'll probably keep a closer eye
Yeah.
on the project right now. And again, cool insights in terms of the name, the background, for how it was formed,
It's
the
yeah.
meta was, yeah, yeah. Cops, you were saying something.
Oh no, I was just gonna say the background noise for you has actually gone down. I guess it's slowing down
Oh
a little
yeah,
bit right now.
that's because it's pretty late here, so everyone's just hustling away. So it's, I mean, we're probably chilling right now. So it's like yeah, it's much better right now, and I'm glad it's better because again, it's the right time for me to talk. But yeah,
Mhm.
I can just take you guys through what we do as Cajun, but just to give you guys a bit more insight into the journey. While we were moving away from being a guild, there was a lot of there were a lot of discussions in house, right? It's not an easy choice for you to just go against what's actually working in the market and try and build something for the long term, right? And it's a tough decision for the entire team to take, and it's purely because again the space is so volatile. There's new trends every day, right? So it's not like you can just ride a hype and just get successful. So again, coming back to it, we had a lot of sessions just to understand what we want to do next, and I think that's when we sort of understood that we essentially, being a gamer community, we had a lot of data that we collected right over the past like 2.5 years, etc., right? So we saw a lot of patterns in terms of how gamers play, in terms of what sort of games do these gamers like, how long do they play, a certain trend which can tell you about a user as to what sort of a quest would he engage, the possibility of him engaging on a certain quest, how much how higher is it than compared to another quest. And I think data is a pretty interesting vertical, right? So when that was being explored, is when KGeN, the idea was being formed, right? So as at its core, KGeN is, you can say it's a protocol. KGeN is a protocol. We're not a guild or a DAO anymore. Rather, we're a protocol. So what we do is we connect the gamers to the publishers or developers, right? And the reason why KGeN we think is going to be very different is because um, we do targeted marketing, and we do it based on cohorts and purely based on the data we have, right? So just to like put it into a bit more of perspective, I'm sure most of you guys have used like Facebook ad network or Google ad network, where you start targeting users and the CAC, it grows linearly. um, the more you try to target a engaged user, right? So the deeper the engagement, the higher cost you pay, etc. And just adding on to that, what KGeN does exactly is we come with certain patterns, if I can put that right. And what we do is we target the right set of audience for these patterns. And it's like, let's say if a gamer is into what do you say, battle royale, we according to our data, we'll target the exact person that you guys are trying to reach. And it's mostly coordinate based, purely based on the data that we have, right? So it's your CAC essentially gets reduced because you're not going through a bunch of other random retargets that you essentially would go through another ad network. And I hope that sets some sort of perspective as to what we do as KGeN.
Yeah, it definitely
Right.
sounds very, very like it fits the piece, right? So all of our guests here serve different purposes, I guess, in like the tech stack of what we eventually all want to get to, right? So you have parallel where it's like you're gonna have this AI agent, but it still needs data, right? It needs various
True.
data, and then that's where Navigate and KGeN really comes in. Is you're feeding that model with the data that it needs to understand the user and what the user wants personally.
100%, because we see a lot of people, again, it's like a chicken and egg problem, right? You won't find projects that are passionate enough to build in the space because they don't probably find the right audience, or they don't think that there's enough a demand for this so-called product in it. And the demand doesn't come because they don't see the so-called popular product on chain. It's like, which do we go, which route do we take first, right? So I mean, now that we've built a community, I think we've chosen the way where we've built a heavy distribution across India and Brazil primarily, and then we're expanding to the other parts of Asia now. And it's been a long time coming. It's been pretty strong. So I'd say we've grown to an extent where I think our targeting is getting much better by the day, because again, the more the data you feed, the better the algorithm works, right? So yeah, that's sort of it.
Excellent. And so what can we expect from KGeN in like the near future? Like how I'm guessing you guys are kind of still a community of sorts, right? You still need people to come in and give the data and stuff. So like how are you growing in that regards? What are some of the big exciting things happening for KGeN in like the next quarter or so?
Oh, for sure, for sure. That's actually a good point. I mean, although we are a protocol, we still need data to function, right? I mean, that's the core ethos of KGeN. So, in steps moving forward, I think you guys will see a lot of major announcements coming in November. Again, I really can't share more than this, although I'd love to share the alpha here on the YGGMA first. But there's actually 3 to 4 major announcements coming. One of which is a product of KGeN which we call as Proof of Gamer. So it's essentially a profiling system that we do, and it's like an algorithm that's built in house, and we run like the scores of gamers across commerce, social, and there's another set of pillars. And we give you a score of gamer across all of these divisions, right? So it doesn't just matter if you are somebody who's just gaming and you also want to show on-chain data, etc., etc. We got you guys, right? Well, that's where we come in, and we collate all that data. We have a scorer of you for POG, and that's the product that's coming in along with the other major announcements in November. And in terms of other growth, I think esports will be one of the bigger things that KGeN will be focusing on going down the line, right? Because again, that's where almost most of the hardcore gamers are at this point. And India being a hotspot for mobile gaming and esports, it's a no-brainer, right? Like we'd start off there. And Brazil also, like the higher ARPU users, the better, right? For the publishers. So yeah, esports is one of the
Mm.
bigger keys in the roadmap for us, along with the POG cards, which we call POG cards. I saw somebody put up, say, fetch POG champ, and yeah, that's sort of the intention we're going with. POG is proof of gamer, but yeah, and these are the important. I think milestones is probably the right word to say, but yeah, these are the things that you can expect from KGeN in the next month.
Yeah, very big because you guys are
Oh,
still like very much so involved with the Indian community, right? Like, which is
Yes,
it's a huge player base, right? Like, I don't
it
think
is. It is
people realize like they hear a lot about Asian countries
hundred
like
percent.
Southeast Asian, but like again, India is part of Asia and it's a very very large player.
It is. It's pretty
AC,
solid
do you
actually,
have
and it's
anything?
yeah, yeah. I think AC was trying to chime in.
oh yeah. Speaking of program earlier, sorry, moving away a bit. Speaking of the program, would you like us to know more about the K drop and the K quest? What is it about?
Ooh, interesting. Actually, I'm sorry. I should have touched up on that, but thank you so much, AC, for it. I mean, K-Drop essentially, think of it as a questing platform, but a platform that goes deeper, right? It goes beyond your top of the funnel quest, which we call tofu quests, right? So what we do is we work on deep engagement. I'm sure some of you might have heard about the IP called Open Lobby, and essentially
Mhm,
what that IP is about. It's about us finding hardcore gamers that are in the space, and the way we do that is by actually hosting deep engagement tasks, and the validations are all through API, right? So it's like the gamer plays the game, they just come and click a button and that's it. They're either valid or invalid. They don't have to upload proof, they don't have to do anything, yada yada. There's no other processes, and it's literally that simple, right? So what we're trying to do with K-Drop is we're trying to filter out most of the gamers that are like engaging with KGeN as an ecosystem. We're trying to find hardcore users, create that as a cohort, so that the games who are looking for users who want to go beyond, like, I don't know, a week playtime of D7 or D4, etc. They also
mhm,
find the users that they're looking for, right? That's the entire ethos of what KGeN stands for. So K-Drop is one of those levers in it. It's like one of the other products that we have. But yeah, I hope that sets some context.
mhm. That's very nice. Yeah, and the K quest, is it almost related to the K drop?
KQuest, yes, yes. So KQuest will be merged again with KDrop. So we just started off a different vertical just to test out the deep engagement, and it's essentially the same questing, right, on the back. So
Mm,
the way that you go much deeper is through like IPs. So we decided that the platform will merge. But the IP that comes in the front will be the one that is the front facing of the deeper IP, right? I mean, deeper engagement, right? So,
mhm,
I mean, just to give you stats, I think we had like over 35 to 40,000 gamers in the last season two. And again, there was I think the average time that people spend like, I don't know, around 2 weeks or 1.5 week for the quest that we ran deep engagement for, right? So I'm just giving you
mhm.
the number of the conversions that we had. Obviously the tofu was much higher in terms of how many gamers actually came in, but we don't put emphasis
Nice.
on that, rather we want the actual users. So yeah, that's how it was.
I see. Very nice. Very nice questing. And speaking of questing, we have our gap quest for KGen.
Yes.
So make sure to
We do.
participate. There will be dropping in your K drop onboarding page. So make sure to at least finish 5,000 points in their platform.
No, no, for
Yeah.
sure they will. See, trust me. We'll get the announcements
Def-
out. Don't worry. We got you.
I agree. All right.
Super exciting. Yeah, it's a lot of
Definitely.
new news
There's a lot
for me.
ongoing. Mm.
Yeah, exactly. Like even I'm catching up here. I knew that you guys had rebranded, but I wasn't 100% sure on what you guys are doing. So extremely exciting that to
I
see
agree.
this pivot and that you guys are finding some really good success there.
No, awesome, man. Thanks for the support. Love that moral support from you, cops. And AC.
Oh, of course. On that note, I'm gonna pull everybody back up here, and I kind of want to just pick everyone's brain and just hear what you all have to think about the space. Again, Sam's kind of put this together as our partner AI kind of chat here because you guys are all based on that, and that's what's really really hype right now. And obviously, this is what we're ending season 7 on before we go into season 8, which is going to be YPS. And I'm sure we'll be not only talking about games at YPS, but we'll be showcasing a bunch of AI stuff because the tools are really amazing. What's happening in the space is really amazing. And there is this really big inflection point, right? I guess a lot of people talk of it as like a singularity, right? Where we're, you know, we're going to be merging with the machine in a sense. And this could either turn out really good or really dystopian. And it's up to everybody to decide what they do. And this is where the opportunity for blockchain and the democratization of data is going to come in. So whatever one of you guys kind of wants to talk on that point there, and just, again, we can free shot it and stuff like that. But who wants to take the first stab at what I kind of said there?
I'll take a stab at that one. My view on that is that whether it's Web 2 or Web 3, everybody's in danger of losing their job.
Mhm.
And it's not necessarily because you're doing a bad job. It's because the data exists and the data is being used to create these Gen AI models that are out there answering questions, which it used to take us 20, 30 years to kind of learn. And now, because of the fact that this data exists, the big tech, which is already big, is able to get even bigger, and the small people like us are even smaller. And so, what I feel is that in Web3, we have the opportunity to really capture that data and showcase how a distributed collection of this data, responsibly collected, and turning that into these models that are valuable outside of Web3 can show that there's value in here and that there's not just a single player that's generating these amazing models that now answer any question, that each of these communities can create their own model to represent them. And so when you look across the board, you are the subject matter experts. And so we're looking at taking that data and getting the best model that exists out there with the best data that exists so that we have a competitive advantage. And it's not about scale, it's about depth. And I think finding the right pockets of experts in this community and being able to capture that data and having them willingly contribute that, annotate it, take the time, and at the same time enjoy it because of the earning potential in the game that's developed around it. I think that's a powerful weapon, and that's something that we haven't seen. And because of the fact that Web3 is all about this collaborative nature, I don't think it can happen anywhere else. So I would say the more we can support each other on these projects, the more successful we'll be in the future in fending off all of these attacks on us individually.
I see a lot of head nodding from Shash and Finch there. Anything you guys want to tag on to that?
I don't know if Fish. Yeah, he wants to go first. Yeah, go ahead, Fish.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I think there's a need for people to become AI whisperers, right? Like shepherds of a sort. You need to be able to navigate these things. If the nature of the future is that a lot of people are going to get squeezed out by an incredibly powerful, semi-intelligent machine, right? Then you need to be able to talk to that machine and understand the nature of that machine. And people need to be good, really, really good prompt writers, right? I think that's the irony of this situation is that like we're gonna, can you have a conversation with the machine, right? Can you effectively guide it? Can you query it to do what you need it to do? Can you be the type of person who can write useful plugins for it? Can you be the type of person that can develop interesting things for the machine to actually do? That's kind of an interesting way to think about it that I think also isn't brought up much. But if you look at something like Colony, that's actually like you're giving the AI something to do. And so I don't know. I think, yeah, there is some dystopian qualities to it. I certainly think that people in a great many different, I don't want to use the word menial, but everyday normal type of jobs may get squeezed out by the combination of AI and robotics. But at the end of the day, there's also new things that are going to be created out of this, and theoretically a greater level of wealth and quality of life for human beings as a whole that can come out of this. But certainly, like, we have to be good stewards of it. And I think the word shepherd is a good one. Like, we need to be able to guide this technology to go in the right direction and develop with the right spirit and have people become conversational with the AI and develop in tandem, right? And not lose ourselves while AI becomes what it's becoming. So
Shash, you had something you wanted to say there?
No, I mean, Fitch covered most of it, but like he's saying, right? I mean, there will be a lot of jobs that I think that'll get squeezed out of for sure because of these. But I mean, at the end, we are the ones writing the prompts, right? So I'm sure there's a lot of gaps that still will be made as soon as the other ones get filled, right? Because even though there is a, I understand there's a better option for, or like an efficient method for you to just ask AI. There's still, I'm sure the prompt will give you probably 80% of the output, right? They'll still need human intervention. Like, it's not gonna be accurate. I mean, I'm sure I'm not taking pot shots at any of the AIs. I'm sure all of them are great, but it's just that even the prompts and anything that the result is going to bring out as the AI comes out, and it still needs human intervention. Like the output will still need to be looked upon before it directly being before it's directly pushed to like prod or something, right? And I'm sure like it's not just for tech, but even in terms of people who are like, I hear journalists are like, or some of the people who will probably like face a lot of issues. But I think that's going to be a little difficult, right? Because although AI can probably gather information across the web, it can generate a better analytics. It's still journalism is still about the actual intent behind like intent of the person writing behind in terms of what they are writing it for, right? Like it's that human intervention, I don't think will be replaced, although like again most of the work is just going to get simplified. But yeah, I don't have anything else to add out of that.
Yeah, on that note there, I love the idea of prompt whisperer, by the way, as a job title. I think that's cool. I think we've seen a bunch for prompt engineer, but I think prompt whisperer sounds a lot cooler. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
but
Yeah, it's a
but
real thing. It's a real
yeah,
thing.
well, exactly,
100%. I'm
right?
applying next.
um, but yeah, I think, and this is where it ties into, right, the big deal about democratizing data, right? If we're squeezing out a lot of these other jobs, the opportunity for people to control and monetize their data, which all of these AIs are going to need, becomes ever much so more important, right? Like if you can't get a normal job, I guess flipping burgers at McDonald's because the Tesla bot is doing it now, then it makes all that data for what they want to sell you or whatever, much more important, right? And tailored. And there's always going to be, like you're saying, Sash, that human element that hopefully the AI can never replace, even if it's, 5 to 10% of the final data or whatever they're trying to market to you and sell, right? That's going to be the big deal. And that's why they still need your data, your personal input per person to be able to get out there. So like, as dystopian as a lot of people make it seem, yes, other jobs will disappear, but there'll be a ton of new jobs that open up for the people that are willing to, adapt, which is I think the big story of nature in general, right? Evolution is adapting. Everything always has to adapt, whether it's, from prehistoric ages all the way up to, the big adaptation, which was well, I guess recently the Internet of Things, but even before that, the Industrial Revolution, right? You saw a lot of jobs just up and disappear for what people are used to, but the human race has always adapted.
No, for sure. I mean, if I can just add at the end, it's a perfect segue into what we also do. We give ownership back to the gamers, right? That's literally the ethos of POG. I know I didn't mention it before, but now that you just brought it back, I just remembered, right? And that's literally the whole concept of what we do. We just want the data to just go back to the owner itself. Like if I'm a gamer or if I own my own data, then again, like you're saying, these AI bots will have to, like access data for them to be able to run these queries, etc. Right? So if I can get a share out of my own like for share out of like I don't know some retargeting that's happening against my own data, then I mean that's a win-win for me, right? It's just passive revenue for me, irrespective. And I mean I don't know, do we see that happening in near future? I not maybe near future, but I'm sure there'll be a time where everybody's just monetizing their own data, right? I mean I have like what 7, 8, 10,000 hours on Steam. I would definitely want somebody to pay me if they're using my data, man. I mean 100%.
Well, exactly. And Steam's definitely using that data to train some sort of AI for themselves that they haven't released yet, or they're selling it off to another big, big company there. Ali,
For
you've been
sure.
a little quiet here. I want to give you a chance to chime in on your thoughts just before we wrap up, because I know we are getting to the top of the hour here, and I want to be cognizant of your time. But maybe you send us off into the end here. What are your thoughts on all of this big talk?
Look, agree with what Shash and Fitch was saying here as well. I think, yes, there's the opportunity to do a lot of prompt engineering. Ultimately, the current wave of AI is basically analyzing a bunch of data And crudely, how it works is looking at all of this and then predicting the next token that you get, the next word, so to speak, that you're supposed to get, which is why we have fancy terms like the language model hallucinates, which is just a, like I said, a fancy way of saying it's, spitting out nonsense because it doesn't exactly know what it's saying. So firstly, there is, I think we as humans have a very limited understanding of intelligence, and there is no intelligent LLM that exists today. And I think we have to educate ourselves a lot more before, we approach any kind of singularity. Much as Ray Kurzweil wants to keep talking about it. But that's one key thing. And I think the whole debate around universal basic income, well, passive data collection and being able to make money from contributing your data to large organizations that need it, that's a great place to start, because every individual has something of value that large companies want from us. And let's see how much that's worth, and let's see that, when we pool our resources together and we have selling power, how effectively we're able to go out and compete in the free market.
100%. Yeah, I think there's a lot of doom and gloom right now out in the world, just in general, whether it's for AI or just things in there. But I think there's also a lot more optimistic people if people look at the scales and the percentages, and if those people are able to capitalize on that, and we did more. Again, bad news is the news people that sells, right? Good
Yeah,
stories feel good, but it's not what catches headlines. And I think a lot of people are going to start realizing that there's a lot more good that AI can do responsibly, um, for the human race than bad. Obviously, there's these nuclear options, and there's always been nuclear options that could happen in the worst case scenario. But so far, we've never chosen that. We've had nuclear weapons, and yes, they've been used, but it hasn't been to the point where everything gets destroyed. So I think AI is just another bridge that we have to cross as a human race, and I'm hopeful, at least I'm sure a lot of people are, that we're going in the right direction, and that things will work out for the better, right? This is just the next stage for us.
absolutely.
So on that note, I'm gonna give each of you time to just close off here. We are at the top of the hour, and I will start with Sash again, and you can just close off with whatever exciting. Just tell our community what's coming and what you want to close off with, and we'll wrap the stream up. So Sash, the stage is yours.
Awesome, awesome. I'll not take more than a minute. Just keep an eye out for the POG Mint, guys. It's going to go live in November, and the third season of Open Lobby will also be live. The second season ended. I think we gave out around $100,000 worth of rewards for the second season. So again, Open Lobby season 3, POG Mint. November is going to be a banger month, guys. So keep an eye out, I guess.
Super exciting. Ali Milton, what's going on with Navigate?
Well, our browser extension is live, so would encourage everyone who hasn't to go check out nvg8.io, grab the extension, have it running in the background, and go play the Data Quest game, where we'll have a bunch of exciting updates soon.
Also, big thanks to the YGG community for jumping into our world. Really eager to hear some feedback, because we're always looking to improve things around there. So be on the lookout for some interesting items that might show up in the next few weeks that will help you advance in the game.
Oh, huge leaks there. Yeah, I think lots of people have been diving into to Navigate for our Gap quests, and I think they still have lots of time to finish those Gap quests. So guys, if you haven't, jump in there and complete. We've got, I think, 5 or 6 days left on Gap season 7, and I'm sure we'll be seeing Navigate pop back in for future seasons.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Finch, last but not least, what's going on with Parallel? Obviously, always a lot for you guys. You're going to be at YPS, so we'll be meeting face to face.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a huge tournament. It's like $100,000 prize pool. It's kind of absurd. So yeah, I mean, if you're there, check that out. I think if you're someone who's heard about Parallel in the YGG community and you'll be at that event, you will certainly see some exciting things going on. A lot of our top players and influencers will be there, so that'll be cool. But yeah, my message, just, check out Parallel. Follow us on socials at Parallel TCG, at Parallel Colony, and yeah, download the game and play. It's fun. And if you don't have the, frankly, little too high requirement PC right now, you can go play on browser. That just launched on GamesGG, and then mobile is coming soon. So excited for that. That'll open up a bunch more, potential users for us. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, super excited. And AC, just before we wrap up here, has the actual the Play Summit poster there. So
Yeah,
it's
for the Ace qualifier. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
counting down. We're looking for the best parallel players. So if you think you have what it takes, definitely sign up for that. That's a big prize pool. Definitely one of the largest I've seen in the Web3 space for esports. So I guess we're doing something right.
Something is being done. Yes. It's exciting. And I mean, you just love to see the competition. I think competition, breeds excellence. So looking forward to seeing who wins. And yeah, I mean, in terms of PH, like many of the best players in the world are there. They're dominating. So yeah, be ambitious and go see what you can do.
I think Sash is nodding his head there. I think India is going to be making a play for that spot eventually as well.
Yeah, we're definitely going to try.
we got a lot of marketing going in India too. I mean, I think we'll see who rises up as the best players there. But I mean,
Yeah,
PH
just hope.
a strong showing. So
For sure.
Eventual parallel world championship in the near future.
Yeah, that is coming.
World championship.
Actually, announcement about that very, very soon. So
another alpha.
Yeah.
More leaks. Well, that's what everybody comes here for, right? Whether everybody wants the leaks. But thank you so much, guys, for joining and taking the time out of your busy schedule. Like I said, it's heating up here in Web3. So again, thank you so much for coming and talking to our community, and super excited for what's coming for everybody here. But on that note, yeah, we will wrap up with a video, and again, have a great day wherever you are, a great night. I know it's always exciting trying to figure out what time zones people are in and then coordinating from there. So I'm sure it's late for some of you guys there, but yeah, thank you so much, and look forward to what comes next for all of you guys. And thank you for the YGG community for tuning in. Together we play.
Thank you.
Play.
See you, everyone.
Yeah.